Greetings to everyone, to all the viewers, and also to our instructor, Mrs. Regine Subika. Now, this time I will going to share to you what is the role of a pastor in the music ministry. And we know that music is very important in church services. Now, what is the role of a pastor? Now, you know that responsibility for the music presented generally rests on the shoulders of musician or the pastor. So these two people, the musician and the pastor, should collaborate and be united on the decision, especially in the church services. We know that music is one of the expression of worship, and one of the role of the pastor is to provide understanding of worship to the congregation and the musicians. So he needs to educate not only the congregation but also the church musicians about biblical worship. And the other role of a pastor is the spiritual responsibility. You know that spiritual responsibility is to observe and ensure that these values are respected and maintained in the church musical practices. You know, one of the very important responsibility of a pastor is to develop, to uplift the spiritual being or spiritual, we call this one spiritual growth of every member. You know that in our religious experience, according to the reading, is about the growth, the change, transformation of the character. So music can change only in our physical, but also it can affect our spiritual. It can help us to grow, to change, especially transform our character to be like Christ. The other role of a pastor is to safeguard of the unity of the church. So, according to the readings, a pastor should relate equally to all constituencies of the church and must be open to enter in dialogue with every member of his or her church. So the pastor should listen to the musician, to every members of the church. So what is their opinion about music? So the role of pastor is to shift from leader to mediator or to listener. So the duty of the pastor is to educate the members in a variety of music style, because some of our members are not inclined, especially in music. So there are some good in, or they are more listening on classical, these are more in contemporary. But one of the basic role of a pastor is should educate them about what are the ideal music, what are the other style of music, so that they should able to know what we're going to use in their church. And the other thing that the role of the pastor is to safeguard the relevancy of the music. According to the reading, worship happens not only on the level of rational understanding, but also very much on the level of the understanding of the heart. You know, music not only affect the mind, but also deeply affect the emotional aspect of human. You know, it says here, music speaks directly to our hearts and touches up deep inside. So this is the relevancy is all about. It can touch, it is holistic. It touches our rational, which is our mind, and especially our emotional, that can able to direct our hearts, our lives to our Almighty God. The other role of pastor is to safeguard the unity of the theme. So it says here, one of the quality of meaningful worship service that is often overlooked is the unity between the theme of the service or a sermon and the worship activities, especially the music. So what is the role of pastor? So for the pastor, the sermon title or worship theme must be planned well ahead of time. So this is the basic role of pastor. So the music or the title of or the theme should plan ahead of time. And the other thing is the pastor should know his or her theme or sermon title at least 1 month ahead. Why? In order that a musician should be able to prepare the piece, relate to the theme or relate to the sermon. Why it is important to safeguard the unity of the theme? According to the readings, pursuing the unity of the message not only brings about the benefit of a well-planned service, but also adds beauty and deeper meaning to the worship experience. So this is why unity of the message is important. In order that our music experience more meaningful, that we could able to experience the true essence of worship. To sum up, we know a few minutes later I discuss about the few roles that I've learned in this reading. We know that a pastor has a greater responsibility, especially in music ministry, in church services. So, you as a member, or as a musician, or as a pastor, we should collaborate to each other. Not to glorify ourselves, but to glorify our God. Because we are the members, or we are the people, have a greater responsibility. So, we need to cooperate and to be responsive so that our worship experience will be full of meaning, full of inspiration, that we could able to know more Christ, know more about God, especially that we could able to be a blessing to others. I hope that we will be able to learn what are some of the rules of the pastor, and I hope you will be blessed in this video. Thank you for listening, and God bless us all.